Good morning. Today is the 13th of February 2024. I was reading 1402. Wish it was 2014. And I'm going to go through my trading plan for today. On my screen, we've got the economic calendar for today. And that is 2024, not 2014. And we see we had a core inflation and inflation rate, so quite a big reaction to that as well, this big red candle, and that's kind of taken out a couple of levels. I was watching this 5022, which looked like it was bouncing on the pre-market, and I've got another level here at 5,000 psychological number, and we're right at the next level. These have been in place for some weeks now at 49.75. So let's just go through the levels and what we've got. For the first time in a long while, I'm actually going to be looking for a short, and what I'll be looking for is a pullback up into this area 5020, and looking for a bit of a rejection. We've got this trend line as well, which was broken in the pre-market on that big red candle. So kind of watching 5020 for a rejection, and I had this level here, and it's only based on one pivot point, so 5,000, but it's a psychological number. So maybe if we come back up to 5,000 with confirmation, we can watch for a rejection. We've got the lows of these candles at 5,003 area, 5,004, 5,005, so we could watch this area for a rejection as well. And next bounce area is going to be the tops of these pivots, this area, tops of these, bottoms of these candles here. So we're watching 49.55 for a bounce. That's the next bounce area really, and then we get back into this area of demand, and we've been there before, so kind of watching 49.40 if we get down that far. Pretty big move. We've taken out the last 4 days of upward movement. And so we're kind of looking for, and we're kind of at a bounce point right now, so I will watch this area as a high risk bounce. I took a quick scalp a few minutes ago, and it just stopped me out by the looks of it. So not looking, it's got to be with confirmation. That wasn't with confirmation, so I'd be looking for the break of the 5-minute candle or that hourly candle back up, with a target of the areas we just mentioned, probably 5020 and maybe this area here at 5,000 if we were to go long. And let's look at the daily. We've been talking about the daily for a while, watching the decline in volume with increase in price. So we haven't got a quarter of yesterday's volume already today, and the market's not even started yet, so potentially we could see a relatively big volume day. For a bounce on the daily, kind of watching this area, which is 40.50, 40.41 to 40.50, and that's just looking at this area where we've got tops of candles and the bodies and bottoms of candles there. And then the next major daily bounce area is this area here, and that's round at 48.50. We've got the 49 psychological number as well. And that's it. So keep an eye. We've been talking about the potential volume, looking for a bit of a pullback, decline in volume in the last few days. So today could be the day. Big drop down today, so it looks pretty red. Let's look at SPY. We'll come back to that before we go. SPY is into one of my bounce areas already. This area here at 49.494. Potentially we can watch down here as well at 490 for a bounce, and that will be probably a higher probability. Tops of these candles, bottoms of these candles, and you know, we're pretty extended already today, probably already at 150% of the ATR, average trading range. So maybe might be stretched if we get down a bit further. And we've got the rise in 200 moving average, this purple line, big reaction last time we touched it, so we could potentially watch that area for a bounce as well. I didn't check to see where we were with volume and the 200 on the MES or the ES. Yeah, we kind of went through it. Yep, still like 49.55 for a bounce. So looking at Qs next. This is an area on watch from a few days ago, which was a great break and retest of the current then pre-market highs. Kind of broke straight through that, and we've broken it down through this trend line as well. So what we can watch for on Qs is the break and the retest of this trend line. We've broken it now, and we've also got the 200 moving average as well, so that's a double area of volume, and we got a bit of volume up here as well, so there's plenty of volume in this area for potential higher risk rejection. If we come all the way back up to yesterday's low, we can watch for a rejection at 434. And for bounces, 425.50 for a potential bounce. 425, that's a good bounce area. And then we've got this area as well, area confluence at 422 to 423 area. Probably that's the better. I think that's the better area. So I'm going to remove that. Yeah, I prefer 423 for a bounce. That's the area I prefer. So keep an eye on that. We've got a breakdown through this big area of volume. We're just above it at the moment, and we've got this orange point of control line that shows us where the most amount of volume is on this chart, and that's coming out of 425. So this is an area to watch. Looking at NQ next. This is the hourly. This is a NASDAQ futures. Kind of broken down through that area already. The next bounce area I quite like is this area here, which happens to be where we are right now. See, I wasn't even looking at that side, I was looking at these tops and bottoms of candles. And then the next area to consider is this area here, which so 17,560 for a bounce, and we've got 17,495, 17,500 almost for a bounce as well. As for rejections, if we can get back up to the 17,900 area, we can look for a rejection coming off of that area. Zoom in a bit. So quite like this area here for a rejection, and we've got this area of volume as well just below, and tops of candles, bottoms of candles. So this area 17,850 through to 17,950 for potential rejection. Oil still doing what it does, putting in higher highs, higher low, higher high, higher low. Still in this run, not quite sure where we're going to go. If we break out through here, we can watch for a pull back into that pivot for a potential long. So between 78 and 80 for a bounce to continue the upward trend. Rejection wise, we can watch 80 to 34 for rejection, and if we pull back all the way back down, we can watch this area 68 for a bounce. It's not done much in a few days. Gold next. Oh, look at that. Gold just sold off, and it's come right into one of our areas. So kind of hovering around this area here. So this is right at a bounce area now, so we can look for a high risk bounce. Big volume. It's gone through the area we're watching, but it's not a line. As we know, I always say we're watching a zone. That area for a bounce. And if we do break that, we can watch for the pullback, the break and retest of the pre-market low for another rejection. And then we've got a target down here, 1978. But kind of watching for a bounce at 2010, 2014. Exactly where we are right now. Okay, so then looking at the Russell 2000 index, big sell off again, right into the 200 moving average. I've got this area down here. Zoom out a bit so you can see the bigger picture. This area down here I've quite liked for a while for a potential bounce, so probably could take in that area there. So we can watch 1950 to 1955 for a bounce, and for a rejection keep an eye on 2020 or yesterday's low up around this area. So the areas we can watch for rejections. The YM, which is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Again, big red sell off. We've broken below this area here, happens to be the point of control coming from this candle here as well. I quite like a pull back into that area, 38,600 for a rejection off of this zone back down. And if we pull all the way back up, we can watch yesterday. Oh, I don't really like that. Too much junk to the left. 38.90 for a potential rejection. To watch that. And bounce wise, just draw that area in there. This area is a potential bounce area. That area. So we've got two bounce areas to watch for. We've got 38, probably about there, 38,360 and 38,245 for bounces. SPX, assuming we've broken down through the 5,000, because we don't know that until the market opens, so I reckon we're probably sitting about there right now. If we pull back up to the 5,000 mark, we can look for a rejection down. I'll take it on the ES, and maybe the SPY as options, but ES is probably what I'd take if I see it pull back into the 500, 5,000. I've already got an alert from yesterday for it to break down below it, but if we're already below it, then it will probably alert us when we get close to it. So let's just put it a bit below. So that's kind of what I'm watching for. A pull back to 5,000, that's the key area on SPX. And then how's Bitcoin today? Wow, hit 50,000 right up here. So Bitcoin's looking strong. That's the daily. What's the hourly look like? And that was trailing the 50 moving average up. So got a bounce there, potential bounce there, and we're coming into this area as well, tops of candles. So potentially we can watch for a bounce. Bitcoin looking strong today. Go back to the hourly, daily I meant. And have we got a potential target in sight? This area is a strong bounce area. Potential target 52,000. Next target 60,000. That area looking good. So let's just take a look at the MES again. So kind of in between the areas we're watching, we're kind of right in this area here for a bounce. So I'm probably going to look for a higher risk bounce if we break above that hourly candle, and with a potential target of 50, 20 and 5,000. These are the two targets to watch for, and that's a higher risk against, not really against the daily trend, but against the hourly trend. And then if we look at the daily trend, you can draw a trend line on here. So kind of, I wonder if that joins up down there. There you go, look at that. So we're kind of not broken the daily trend yet, so can kind of look for a bounce in that area. And I think that's it. So just to recap my levels on MES. Looking for a bounce in this area, higher risk, off of this trend line as well. Look for a bounce down in the demand zone at 49.20, and then maybe look 5,000 as a higher risk rejection, just because it's a psychological number, but really watching yesterday's low and this area at 50.20 for a rejection. So my two main watches will be rejection up here, 50.20, and potentially a bounce in this area. Happens to be right at one of the levels which I've been watching for some time. And that's it. Okay, thank you for watching.